It's bourbonblog.com live, the Cigar Saturday with Matty Rock, and I'm Tom Fischer. And we are so excited to have join us Pio Ferro. He is the Senior Vice President of Operations and Content at NYC's Hot 97 and 107.5 WBLS. How are you tonight, gentlemen?
How are you, Tommy? How are you, Matty?
What's up there, my brother? It's going to be bad for me tonight. Now I got two smooth radio voices with my monotone, bust-up nasal sound. Oh, this is going to be ugly.
We should do the radio voice just for the rest of the night. Just talk like this.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to cheat. I do my fake Patrick Stewart. Hello, gentlemen. So good to see you both.
We could pretend to be you, and you could pretend to be us. That'd be
hello.
That'd be all right
Absolutely
too. Yeah.
Fabulous to see you both.
I am so jealous of both of you, Tom. I saw you spark up a cigar. Tom,
Yep.
Matt is at Sanja's. You're at Sanja's, right?
Yes, sir, brother.
And I'm here. It's still a little too cold and a little too damp for me to be outside smoking, and I'm craving one. So, what do you guys smoke?
Today,
Go
for
ahead,
my
Matty.
book, I'm doing a little Willie Herrera action here. So I got my Herrera Esteli Miami Black. For those of you out there who have not had it yet, we've spoken about it before in the show. Highly recommend. Great mix, medium full, a lot of natural spice to it. Really a firecracker of a cigar. I can't tell you how much I love it. Willie did a great job with this one. Pio was in your bag, so next week when we get out there and smoke, I know Tom, there's one in your bag before, so I know you've had the opportunity to puff on that. What do you got tonight?
It's excellent stuff. I have some of the Drew Estate Acid Cuba Arte limited edition with some of the great artists celebrating Brooklyn and your region, and great stuff. I am pairing it with some, as everybody knows, I love to pair my cigars with Peerless, especially the rye whiskey. This is a single barrel they did, which is called Rye Cherry Cola, because it doesn't have any cherry cola in it, but it has some notes that taste like cherry cola. Coincidentally, Matty, you're sipping on something new that is a cola of sorts.
I am indeed. So I have to tell you, I was incredibly skeptical with the Coca-Cola coffee thing, but since, as everybody probably knows, I'm a caffeine freak and a coffee whore, I had to give it a try, and I was nicely surprised by how much I like it.
Yeah.
Great drink, and like I said, it's making the cigar snap, man. So
You young guys, man, if I drink any caffeine after 3 o'clock, I'm up all night.
he's like it's like Gremlins, man. You don't forget the gizmo. Don't feed the Pio, bro.
That's right. Well, I was a little nervous about connecting or whatever, so I missed getting my drink. But I just texted. I actually texted my girls because my wife isn't paying attention to her phone, and I said, "Please have Mom bring me a little Balvenie for me." So hopefully, I'll be enjoying a little sippy sip soon.
You could run from the chair if you have to. It's all family.
Oh, no. I've actually just been given a choice.
Oh wow, it's coming out of the sky now. Look at that.
Single barrel or the W. I'm going to do the single barrel. Why not?
You could do a little bit of each, and you know that's okay too. Nobody will complain here.
Like at the same time?
Well, I mean, you could sip them side by side. Single barrel's always nice. I mean, I think they do some really nice single barrels.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Depending on the guest, Pio, we're either into sipping or chugging. It's been a very diverse crowd.
I saw our VP of programming for the company. His name is Rick Cummings. Rick is an avid Scotch fan. Also went to Ireland and said, "Man, we've been drinking Scotch all wrong. We on the rocks and all that. The way they drink over there is put a little bit of water, about just a tablespoon of water.
Oh yeah,
just to open up." And that piqued my interest as to how do they do it over there, the mecca of in Scotland where he was at, and it's not to be chugged, it's to be enjoyed. You take a good whiff, you all over the mouth like a wine, and just let it go. And this is excellent.
It is.
You and Tom are going to be good friends, sir.
Oh yeah,
good friends.
We'll make sure we bring you some good whiskey when we see you, Pio. And you're sipping some wonderful stuff, and that little bit of water always helps open up the whiskey just a little bit. Because I think that Balvenie single barrel is that a little over is it 105, 110? What's the proof on that in front of you?
It's 47.8% alcohol by volume.
Okay, so it's not real high, but it's fairly high.
It's I have a Glenlivet that's like 60-some%, and I put a picture on it on I have a geek page, an Instagram geek page, and one of the guys that likes it says, "Oh my God, that's pure alcohol. It's 60-some%," and of course by this time I was 3 drinks in. I was like, "It is."
I don't know if we're gonna go that story. You could tell Tom when you got me hotboxed.
Hotboxed.
Oh, come on! You don't remember that one show? Leave the straight edge guy in a room full of people with weed when you had some work to do.
Oh well, yeah, we were. So I invited Matty to a reggae show that we did to celebrate Ebro in the Morning. One of the anniversaries. I want to say it was the 5th anniversary. So we got. Marley was there. I mean, it was crazy. It was several years ago. So Matty and I are hanging out. Who was hanging out with us that night? Somebody else.
Teflon Don. It was the Marleys.
No, but those are the artists. But somebody was with us. Who was with us that night?
Was it Stas?
I got a little hot box myself.
Was it Stas? I can't remember.
I don't remember who it was. We were somebody. We were having fun, and of course, the show's going on. So I say, "Hey, Matty, hang out and wait for me here," and I start making my rounds, making sure everything's okay, checking in with the guys, and blah blah blah. And then by the time I got back, Matty, you were hanging out. You made really nice friends with Steph London.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Tom, you have a guy who's been straight edge for 20 years. Here goes Matty. I stick tight somewhere, and Stefan said, "Oh, you come back here with us, Matty. You can hang out with us, Matty." So I'm like, "All right, very cool." So Tom, the actual room everyone was about this big, but with no windows, no nothing. When I tell you, wow. smoking stuff that could probably take out a bull rhino. Now I'm not thinking about any of this shit at all. So Pio's like, "I'll see you in about 5 minutes." So about an hour later, Pio comes back. An hour to the room like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" And then Pio's looking at me. He's like, "Matty," and he goes, oh no, Matty, are you all right?" I'm like, "I'm great, buddy. What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh no, Matty, come here, buddy." I'm like, "What? Where are we going, bud?" Oh, it was bad. We took the ferry back across. Remember, I thought I was Leonardo. I thought I was on Titanic at the front of the ferry. Yeah, it wasn't a good look.
It was no, especially.
You have a picture of that anywhere? We can.
God, no.
Unfortunately, okay. Tom, I have a picture of it in my mind. I remember the whole thing, but I have a similar story. I've been working in the city for some time since 2000, but my first month at Hot, it was a dream come true. It was like it's one of those things you never imagined that your career is going to take you to arguably the biggest, one of the biggest radio stations in America, because WBLS is also, it's world famous, right? So, but at this time I was only working for Hot, and I'm not going to mention the name of the artist to protect the artist and whatnot. But I will say this, it was one of the first concerts I went to. I'm trying to be real cool, trying to make sure that I fit in, especially with Peter Rosenberg and whatnot. So go up to say hi to the artist and whatever, introduce myself. And they are just, not Peter. Peter was just. What's going on, brother? And so I get offered a little sum, and I was like, I'm not going to say no. Of course, yeah. I'm the biggest wimp when it comes to that. I took one hit and I was hallucinating for the next 2 weeks. It was terrible. It was just terrible. It was terrible. Anyway.
It's very exciting. I bet you. No, I know especially in a market like yours, a station like yours, you do get to probably spend some time with some really cool people.
Yeah. And starting with the people in the building,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mentioned Ebro, I mentioned Peter, I mean, people in the building include Funk Flex, who is, I mean, legendary. I mean, legendary, and gets used a lot. But this guy truly is, and he's one of the most amazing people in the building. And on the other side, we have Marley Marr, we have DJ Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out. I mean, we have, it's some amazing people inside the building, and it's, it's obviously we're working from home and whatnot, but you still got to pinch yourself and say, holy crap, I get to collaborate, work, make great content with these people, help them, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, you guys do a good job there at your stations, and we always enjoy. And again, for everybody just joining us, it's an early edition tonight of Cigar Saturday, so take a moment, like this, share this on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and whenever you do both like this and share this, you have a chance to win that coffee, that bourbon barrel-aged coffee from Janice Coffee Roasters. We always do that every Saturday, and we appreciate Janice being a part of this. Matty, I was just thinking, I know we were mentioning the Coke, or we want to talk radio too, but we mentioned that Coke coffee earlier.
Yeah.
It was actually about, I don't know if anybody remembers this, it was about, I think about 15 years ago, Coke introduced a similar product called Coca-Cola Black. Do y'all remember that?
I remember that.
Yep. And then Pepsi went at them with Pepsi Kona.
Yeah.
Here's the fun story. Back then, I did all the tech work over at the PepsiCo in Valhalla. So we were there. That's where the lab was when they were rolling it up. And to say that my ass was hopped up on Pepsi Kona would be an understatement. I could chase trucks on the turnpike. I mean, it was just, I was.
So you were working with Pepsi then?
Yep. We did all their tech work. We did their help desk. We did everything else. And I was a very easy person to bribe. Like, hey, Matty, we need you to have your team work with us after hours. I'm like, no, Ken, these guys want to go. I'm like, let's just say a couple cases of Pepsi Kona found their way to you. I'm like, I will see you at 5:01. Let's get this party started. And by the time I got home, literally, my head was spinning around, crazy stuff. But
it didn't stick. It was only around for less than a year or so, because I remember I did a story about it. I actually did with my early podcasting days, I did a podcast about it. It stuck around for a little while, and I think maybe it was a product, because this reminds me a lot of it. The flavor is I thought it was good back then, but maybe it just wasn't ready for.
It's like the McRib of.
I think now what you have social media the way it is, it wasn't quite where it needed to be years back.
Right.
Now, it's almost that instant gratification when it comes to marketing. So when you bring something to market, you don't even need a huge budget to put it out there. You just let the social media kind of work its way. And, you're seeing this pop up now everywhere. And I got to say, I'm a big fan. I prefer the vanilla one over the caramel. Okay. But at first I'd be like, I don't know how I feel about the flavoring. I would have just liked the regular, which I have not seen the regular, just the coffee and the Coke. But surprisingly, the vanilla Coke coffee is actually pretty good, and the calories are oddly only clocking at 70. So,
wow.
My husky self can get away with drinking, an extra couple of them, so I get all that caffeine in my body.
I like it. And when you're and again, Pio, you're right on the your favorite of the whiskey world is the single malt scotches. You like some bourbons. What do you typically go for?
I have a little bit of Russell's, which
Russell Reserve.
Yeah, that's pretty. But I love that. I love the whiskey. I love bourbon. I love the single malt Scotch is really my default. The Canadian stuff, I love Redbreast.
Oh yeah, nice stuff.
That's some amazing stuff. And what is it? High West? Am I pronouncing?
Yeah, the High West. They're very nice.
All the stuff is amazing.
Yeah, the High West are really good. They the Prairie Bourbon, and the Rendezvous Rye, a lot of those, and especially their limited editions. But yeah, we like those, and they're getting out there more and more. And their own whiskey. They've always blended some of their own whiskey with some Indiana whiskey, but their own whiskey is getting older and older. So we've always really enjoyed the High West an awful lot too.
Yeah, the first time I tasted High West, I was actually with Matty and with a buddy of ours, Chris Osgood, and we were smoking a cigar or whatever. It was one of the events, Matty, and
think we were out in Connecticut. Was it out in Connecticut?
No. It wasn't in Connecticut. It was in Jersey. And anyways, I had a taste of the High West, and I was like, holy, I forget which one it was because they have several. It was amazing. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great stuff. We are fans of all those and so much more. I'm obviously a big fan of bourbons from so many places. I really love so many of the bourbons from New York State and the East Coast in general, but I've always been a fan of the Hudson. And I really like, have you tried the Kings County from Brooklyn by chance?
I've not tried the Kings County from Brooklyn, but I feel like I have to do that very soon.
It's some of the best. It's some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best bourbon made outside of Kentucky. I think you'll really like it.
You know, you just connected the dots for me. The Hudson, that it's local from here. I've had it. I love it, and
yeah,
that's really great too. So yeah,
it is great stuff. Well, I want to make sure everyone knows if you have any questions for Pio, Matty, or myself, ask down below. And we're so glad to have all of you joining us. Tell us also down below either what you're drinking tonight, or if you're not yet drinking tonight, tell us what you've been drinking lately.
What you've been puffing on,
or what you've been what you've been puffing on. It's Sanj. Sanj has some more of his new cigars that he released. Does he have anything new in the?
Hey, Sanj.
See what he has.
Hold on, I'm screen. So Tom wants to know anything new that we should know about. So Sanj, Pio, you've met Sanj before.
Oh yeah, Sanj.
Sanj.
How are you?
How's it going?
Good, guys. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah, man.
Likewise. What do you need to know?
I was just wondering what any new cigar updates this week in the world of Sanj's. What you have, what you're enjoying, what's going on there.
Well, I'm still smoking that swollen cock. I think that's a phenomenal smoke. Did you get yours?
I didn't ship it yet. Nope.
Oh, you didn't ship it?
No, yeah, but he's been smoking on it since last week, so it's gotten even more swollen.
Phenomenal smokes.
You see Pio's scared face. He's like swollen. Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm trying to process that, and I'm not sure I want to jump in on that.
Well, now I don't feel bad for wanting to make fumar mi pinga. So if he could smoke swollen cock, and Pio, I don't believe that you've heard. Sanj, why don't you tell him about your house blend?
Section 8 Dothead. All sold out, Tom. Week ago when we launched it, we had 5,000 cigars. We don't have any left.
Wow.
Gone.
See, I refuse to talk about it. I just say Sanj's new stick, and then I defer to Sanj. He could say, I let him say Dothead, not me.
It's called Dothead, and we're launching one more, which is Solomon with the pigtail, and we're gonna call it Dothead. Get it, Pio? Ready? Snake Charmer.
Oh, okay.
Get it? Indian turban snake. Get it?
He doesn't want to. Pio's like, what have you done, Matty?
No, oh, listen.
I gotta tell you though, me being mass skeptical. 30, you're gonna want one. 30 years of smoking. So Sanj's like, he's like, you're gonna smoke one of these. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, shut your fucking mouth, smoke one, and tell me what you think. And I have to tell you, the balance, the body, the burn, the construction. You know what? I just have a difficult time telling people what I'm smoking. It's like, Matt, is it good? I'm like, yes, I highly recommend it. What is it? My ass Sanj. I want to say it. And then Sanj happily throws it in. Dothead. So he makes it difficult for me to talk about. But I got to tell you, dollar for dollar, you're gonna have a tough time beating a stick like that. You just may be uncomfortable talking to people outside your family.
But listen, it's not. I don't think the beauty of it is it's fucking cigars. It's an adult community thing, right? So I don't think anything's racist behind it. I mean, listen, what happened to fucking ShopRite? Red Dot Special. That's offensive. Now, them motherfuckers. That's offensive. So guess what, Pio? I did actually sue them like 15 years ago. That's why you don't see that no more.
Are you serious? That was you?
Red Dot Special. They can no more say. So we sued their asses. I know, we're not for money. I said, take it off. So they took it off. That's why you don't see any Red Dot Special.
That's crazy.
He likes stuff like that. Here's some great cigar lore for you. So everybody knows the mighty brand Cohiba.
Right.
And Tom, we've talked about it on the show before. Pio, I don't think you know this. Sanj owns the American trademark for Cohiba.
No kidding.
Yeah. Cohibas, Vigueros, you know, we have a lot of trademarks.
That's amazing, Sanj. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows when he goes to Cuba, he's going to have to bring that security detail with him.
He may have.
Like good people.
Oh, coño, we have to talk to you.
Oye, chico, ven acá. Tenemos la contigo.
Oh, I got to go now. Oh, no. I'm para un momentinho, okay? Ah, mierda. Oh. Yeah. Muy mierda. You're talking some stuff. But
I got those Cuban cohibas. If you can get a real one, holy smokes, that's
well, you know a guy you just
which one he likes.
Sandra wants to know which one you want.
You know what? I'm a big fan of Romeo y Julieta, and what I love about Cuban cigars, and it's hard to find. It's a very hard trade to find. Is when you're getting to the last, what is it, to the third of the cigar, whatever
the last third. Yep.
Yeah. It's sweet as as it was at the beginning. It's as sweet as it was in the middle, and that's, some cigars just tend to get a little sharp, a little, just change in the flavor.
Either bitterness. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So which Romeo and Juliet that you like?
I mean, as far as sizes, Sanj, the Coronas. I don't like very large cigars that just take forever.
Right. What about ring gauge?
Especially, pardon me?
Ring gauge. Do you prefer Lanceros, Coronas, Robusto size?
I like Robusto and I like Corona. But for example, when Matty and I get together, like I'll smoke a cigar when the weather's nice. Like I'll do one once a week, and really enjoy it. When I hang out with Matty, it's like a 2 cigar night.
Yeah.
So I gotta, if you do a really big cigar, and you're gonna do 2.
I have some Romeo and Julietas, Añejados, completely different than any other Cuban Romeo and Julieta. Añejado series, the tobacco on it, it's like coppery bronze. The minute you light it, the way you taste it, from there it gets better and better and better. You don't want to throw it out. And then there is another Romeo called White Churchill. It's a shorter tobacco. Let me get it.
Oh, nice. Very
Museum.
My wife and I went to London. One of the times that we went to Harrods, and there's a cigar shop.
Oh yeah.
There's a ton of great cigars there, and I guess Cuba has exported all of these. And I want to say that I remember seeing, I don't remember if it was a Romeo Julieta, but it was definitely Añejo. And oh my God, that's some of the best smokes.
Yeah, when you get some of those, those higher end Cuban cigars that have, especially, I hate, like I said, and we've gone over this in the show before, I kind of detest always hearing special edition, limited edition. But here's the but. Sandra will say, with Cuban cigars, the authenticity of that statement actually holds true. So when a Cuban cigar says super limited ultra, remember there really is, and Pio is Cuban, so he will attest. There is only so much of that tobacco that's available to use. So when you're saying that that's a limited edition, this is
it's truly limited, and once it's gone, it's gone. Matty, what's the one that I really it's one from the islands. I don't want to misspeak. I think it's the Bahamian, the one that
Bahia 52, 54, 56.
I didn't hear Sanj. What was that?
From the Bahiques.
Bahique, there are
no. I'm talking about actually Bahamian cigars. What is it?
Oh, Great Cliff.
Oh my God!
Now remember, I gave you guys one. So I found. Now I worked in the Bahamas back then, and I didn't know any better. How lucky I was, I saw this magnificent gentleman in a beautiful suit and a white hat and I was enamored seeing this. I like, this guy's amazing. And he took a shine to me. So I remember just when I lived there, there's no Atlantis. It was Merv Griffin Resorts,
right?
1 and 1 in the Sheraton Grand when I lived there. So you literally went over the little Paradise Island Bridge, and the bank that we worked at was in Nassau, Bahamas, in the corner of Church and Bay Street. So go to Crystal Palace, and that's where the Great Cliffs came from. Hold on. Yeah. So look at this. This is what Sanj was talking about.
That's a Romeo and Julieta short Churchill. Phenomenal smoke.
Sounds amazing.
You could smell the box.
Oh,
Yeah, if we had a smellophone, you'd be very happy right now.
And then
Oh.
I'm gonna send you some of this, Pio.
right.
This is the Monte Añejados. Unreal.
Just don't send me a swollen cock. That's all.
That sounds great.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. After the episode of Swollen Cock, we found out that Tom had 27 more of his own personal bourbon tastings. He's like, I've had enough of these guys.
Tom had his own 27 swollen.
This is the old classic, Pio. Most people don't even know. This is Por Larrañaga.
Oh,
You know what? I've never had a La Rañaga.
Por Larrañaga.
Oh,
are these already editions that aren't out anymore? Is that right?
I'm sorry, Tom?
These
These are not out anymore. These.
No. Yeah, this is all old stuff.
Wow.
12?
Yeah. So we have it. So I'll send a bunch of stuff with Matty for you guys.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sanj. We always love tasting the past. I mean, it's amazing to try these. I mean, it really is. It is really a.
And then when it comes to Cubans like that, like I said, limited edition, holds its water. It actually is the uniqueness of that tobacco. Because again, you're talking about one small island. There's only so much product that you have. So when you're saying that something's special, you know, that code of authenticity for it being special is actually there.
Yeah.
Right.
but those Great Cliffs are amazing.
Oh,
and you know, and
What did we smoke the red or the blue when we were there? I can't remember because I still have all of them. I have the purple, which was the Grand Cru.
Right.
I have the emerald, which was the.
This is the white. There's one that has a white label. That's the one that I got years and years ago.
Yeah,
Where-
so that's
a crystal.
That's a crystal.
That's
That's
the
the original
crystal.
Bohemian tobacco. That stuff don't exist no more.
No, the remake you've seen, Great Cliff has come back to market now, but you don't have the accessibility. So you see that Great Cliff just relaunched. So they have the original. They call it PG.
Right.
You're not going to be able to get those tobaccos simply for the fact that they use Bohemian tobacco. So over the years, as Great Cliff changed, their first biggest change was probably about 15 years ago when they put out the 1666s, and that was the first time that they started using a lot of tobaccos that were outside of the Bahamas. They had some Nicaraguan, some Costa Rican, I think, some Costa Rican, some Honduran, and that's when you saw the brand begin to change a little bit. So the brand as you see it today, not quite what the brand
What it was.
original. Like I said, you're not going to find.
Not when you met the guy himself. The man.
No, that was the original time. You had the original PGs, which were the red and the blue. You had the Grand Cru, which is the purple, and you had the emerald. Then a few years, maybe 2 or 3 years later, you had what you smoked, which is the crystal. Then you had the Avellino. The Avellino was 15 years old. The Avellino was about 15 years old, and then they had the silver 30th anniversary. And then after that, then you saw they start to change. There was outsourcing. Yeah. Like if you look at things, you see G2 and their Great Cliffs. Well, it has the name Great Cliff, but you're not going to smoke it's not a real Great Cliff at $3 a clip, nor should one expect it to be. So I think that was made by AJ Fernandez, right? So AJ made it on behalf of Great Cliff, called them G2s. And like I said, for a $3 stick, $4 stick, it's a good $3 or $4 stick, but you're not talking about your $30 and your $40 original Great Cliffs that originated in the Bahamas with that Bohemian tobacco.
Right. Shortly after that trip from the Bahamas, I used to smoke cigarettes, right? And a long time ago and whatnot, a former smoker. So, you know, I'll enjoy a cigar every once in a while and really fell in love with the Great Cliff. And whenever I could get my hands on a true Cuban cigar, then at a company that I worked for, I was based in LA, but the corporate office was in Miami, and we'd go there all the time. And there was this guy that we knew. We called him El Chino. El Chino is gonna, he can hook you up with real Cubans or whatever. So I bought a box of what was then my absolute favorite cigar, which was the Monte Cristo No. 2, and it was they weren't real. And again, it's just, they weren't bad cigars, but it's, you could.
I remember that box you brought in. You're like, Matty. I'm like,
no, Matty. This
wasn't even that box. Huh?
Separate. Yeah, no. This is a separate.
Separate bad time. Damn.
This is. Oh yeah, I'm talking years ago. I'm talking 2004, 5, 6. Yeah, this is way back then. And but my wife's mom she has, they still have family in Cuba, so they would go and she would bring me like the real deal from the real, from the real stores or whatever. Just love those Cubans.
Yeah, and as I was thinking, as we think about whether it's whatever kind of smoking it is and radio, are there any favorite radio personalities that you think a little smoke beforehand really did something special for their voice, or just the fact that they had this great radio voice that was amplified by that raspiness in your career, Pio? Have there been any favorites that you've had as far as?
Are we talking cigars or
just radio personalities that had that great raspiness from smoking? Any favorites?
Tom, what's funny is, and we were talking, as before the show launched, but I remember back, I first stepped foot in a radio station in the late 80s. And remember the late 80s and the early 90s was a time where smoking, it was like it wasn't bad for your health. So you had, like, everybody smoked, and people smoked in buildings. I remember when we first got to LA in 94, it was like, what do you mean you can't smoke in the office? What? You got to go outside. It was, and then shortly after they nixed smoking in nightclubs in LA. This would have been about 97 or whatever. But no big radio voices come to mind that the smoke actually made them, but there was this guy in South Florida radio who was on WIOD, and senior moment here, the name isn't coming, but I remember he would smoke in the studio. I was like, you can't smoke in the studio. It's like, F you, I'm smoking in the studio. I did the morning show, and we did a stunt where, the old stunt where you play the same song over and over and over again. And we actually played his favorite singer, Luis Miguel, who's a Mexican singer or whatever. And guy started talking about us on his show. And so my morning show co-host and I took a life-size stand-up to his show, and he interviewed us, and he was smoking away in the studio. And my co-host hated cigarettes, hated smoking, hated everything having to do with, and he was just so pissed. I was like, get over it.
Now we got to go outside. The landscape has changed so much. You've been at the Hot 97 for how many years have you been there?
6 years.
Right on.
Years, a little bit over 6 years. Yeah.
Right. What have you seen in the last 6 years in the radio business that you've enjoyed, that you haven't enjoyed? What's it been like?
Well, you know what? It's the experience at Hot 97 was you always think it's going to be something, and then and most of the times, because you've been around for so long, yeah, it's kind of what I expected. My previous job in Miami was at Power 96, and I thought, yeah, all right, I know what to expect. I got what I expected. When I got to Hot, I was expecting, a little bit more, how can I say this? It was just like a super friendly family welcome aboard, and I was kind of expecting everybody to look at me with a side eye. And look, they might have back then because they didn't know me, but I never got that. It was very family. I was super nervous to meet Funk. I've told him this all the time. I tell him this all the time. I thought you were going to be a pain in the, can I say pain in the ass? Is that okay?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We're NC-17, buddy.
And he laughs. I told him, because I'd been hearing Funk forever and dropping bombs and just, talking his mind or whatever. And then when you meet him, he's like super chill, super a student of the game, a strategist, a pleasure to hang out with, and whoever knows Flex knows that when you get on the phone with Flex, it's never less than an hour conversation. I look forward to it. I always do. So, that was very awesome. the the challenges that the broadcasting industry is facing is, it's just more choice. People have more choice to get audio content, and that's great. That just means that we have to be better, and that just means that our content has to be better. We have to be on our toes with what we put out. At the end of the day, what we do is we do a daily curated playlist on both radio stations, and we just try to hit the mark all the time and make sure that we have in between the songs the right thing. We have massive access to artists, so try to bring that to the table. We can do things like our APD TT Torres. She's always hooking up stuff with. She had a thing with her, the R&B singer, the young R&B singer. Her, for Valentine's Day and stuff like that. That's really cool that we have access to do, and we're always trying to do it. Hopefully this year Summer Jam will be back, and took a little hiatus last year because of COVID and whatnot. But it's those moments that just make the experience epic. I mean, beyond epic.
Oh, absolutely. And there's going to be so many people excited for events like Summer Jam, for music festivals. I mean, what do you see that looking like? I mean, obviously, just people have always enjoyed live music. That's one of the things that I've been missing so much. What do you see it looking like as we get back to that point?
Well, look, you hear from a lot of different people, right? And when you hear about the people that live and breathe the industry, they're very bullish and very optimistic that we're about to turn that corner. And then you hear about people saying, yeah, but you got to see how things progress. You have to see, how the vaccine takes and how many people can take it. I think that, sometime in summer, we're going to really start seeing what's what. And of course, all this can change because you never know. Like, who would have predicted in January? It's funny, January, February of 2019, our Summer Jam for that year was done. It was done. We were just putting the final touches on the surprises. Summer Jam's big on surprises, but everything was done. The date, we'd already had the meetings with MetLife. We were ready, and then the world changed. So but we're hoping we're hoping that late summer won't be June like it normally is, but late summer we'll have that. Bring back Circle of Sisters live and in person for BLS. Looking forward.
Yeah, we really are looking forward to that, and I've heard some conversation that even though people want to be there in person, as all these concerts and these festivals come back online, that there still may be that virtual aspect brought to fans. I mean, this is going to be a whole new offering that we may still see people, bands, performers allowing some sort of virtual access for those that can't be places.
Yeah. Look, you have to roll with the punches, right? And you have to do, you have to work with, the tools that life gives you at that moment. But there's something about being at a live event, and when when the bottom end of the music hits you, when that bass, hits you, and you're in a crowd, and there's energy, and there's a vibe, and it just, just talking about it, thinking about it, sends chills up my spine, because it's if the three of us were together in one room and we were all smoking and drinking, it would be super elevated. So yeah. A lot of artists have done virtual and this, but it's again, Matty, you said it was NC-17.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is NC-17. Trust me.
The difference between watching porn and having sex.
Can it be both? It's a reasonable question.
If you're smoking, what is it that Sanch has, the swollen?
It could be a little.
We're already past that, Pio.
It and everything, but I hadn't thought about that analogy, but truly it is. That's the difference between between a live event where just you feel it from head to toe and just all your senses are, there's nothing else you can do, versus
it's experiential. And, it's a word that's probably used more than it should be, but it really is that. So what's the difference? And we've had Jose Blanco on the show before, and he goes, what's the only thing that can ruin smoking a cigar? And the joke was smoking next to an asshole. He goes, but the best thing is smoking next to your friends and people that you care about and people that you enjoy being with. And that's where I think the biggest toll as a social society has done to us, right? So that aspect of being close together, sharing your story face to face, it's left a big hole, because everybody here on this call right now is used to being on the road for X amount or being around thousands, if not hundreds of people, thousands of people. So to change that, I mean, shit, Sanj, even outside, there's parties 250, 300, you just can't do it. And to know that you can't do that, you can't share that camaraderie. And, Tom, Pio's a really modest guy, but he's also probably one of the most incredible sound and music guys you'll ever meet. You talk about there's music, there's people who love music like myself, who's been around music my life. Then you have a true audiophile. And I think people, and Pio's smiling because he knows him, right? I think people use those words incorrectly. I mean, the equipment that he has and the way that you can listen to music, and he has this extensive vinyl collection. You just sit listening to that music and you become engulfed in it. But it's cooler when you can talk to it about the person who's sitting right next to you, and they're just like, yeah, dude. I mean, Pio played something for me. You could go into the actual equipment, Pio, but you just listen. You can literally hear, Tom, the pages turn.
Oh yeah,
of a book. And I mean, when you listen at that quality, that's like, well, who gives a shit about my Bose and my other stuff? I just listen to Pio now.
But what Matty's saying is true. We have our guy Dan Esco that we always smoke together and whatnot, and Matty and I take him on these musical journeys, and Matty, you weren't here the last time, but I took him on
the Beatles one.
On the Beatles one, and we started with the first album and all the way to Abbey Road and
it's a journey, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I've experienced the Beatles, since I was a kid, because that's what my dad and my mom listened. My dad mostly, but to hang out with Dan. Dan is younger than I am. He's in his 30s. I'm in my late 40s. But to walk him through and have him get some things and have him not get some things, it's like, dude, in My Guitar Gently Weeps, that's Eric Clapton, dude. And he's here like,
yeah, what the hell, you two? My best was when we walked him through the 80s. He's like, what is this? I'm like, yep, this is what you were missing, man.
Yeah. But I mean, audiophile is a term that for some people it has bad connotations, because you're talking about, like there's some, I call them audio fools, so I don't want to get too much into that. But it's an art form. Music is my favorite art form, because you can only experience it. It's not like a painting or a film or a book where the book is theater of the mind, right? So if I read a book and I read a story and I'm picturing things in my mind, and it's but you feel it, you can hold the pages, you smell the book. You walk into a bookstore, you get that smell. It's amazing. Film and plays and stuff, you're seeing it, you're experiencing everything. Music is it's vibration in the air, right? And it's gone in 3, 4, 5 minutes or whatever. And I've in my 30s I got an affinity for jazz, and I'm a huge fan of. I mean, I'll never be able to go through everything because there's just so much music.
I surprised you a few weeks ago, right? Victor Wooten.
Big time. I mean, that was just incredible. And
you listen to that the way, and like I said, and people always consider the word jazz, like how deep down the foxhole do you go? Is it experimental jazz? Is it acid jazz?
Coltrane.
Jazz,
Coltrane. Right? Coltrane himself is a journey. And his
Miles Davis, yeah.
I mean, when he started with Miles and whatnot, and when he got set, when they split up and whatever, and then he got deep, and then he got really deep, and you have to, it's funny because we talk music all the time when we hang out, funny. You can tell we're getting older and more mature because the conversation is music and and it's the beauty of jazz is it's like if you go to any part, any busy street in a busy city, and you see things, the cars, the people, it's like a jazz composition. You have all these things going on, and it kind of all makes sense. And you don't get it until you do get it. And I know that sounds weird as hell, but one day it clicks and it's like, holy shit, I get it. I get why Kind of Blue was massive and still is, and studied and whatnot. So
some questions coming in for Pio from Randy. Thanks, Randy, for watching. Do you think music radio will go the way of curated music podcasts? You're mentioning your curated selections earlier.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Randy. I think that as long as radio is easily accessible, and as long as we do a good job, I don't, I think we're the anti music podcast. I think we're, it's if I'm understanding the question correctly, it's all about entertainment, and it's all about communication, and it's all about connection, right? That's truly what a it's unfortunate, Tom, that there are some radio companies that have done so much to hurt the industry.
Right.
And a lot of the things that the negative parts that you hear about, oh, radio, it's not, what it used to be and whatever. Well, because there are some corporations that just, it's cookie cutter. It's meaningless. It's somebody that just, and that's not the type of stuff that, it's not the type of radio we like to do at BLS and Hot's not the type of radio I've ever liked to do. I like the personality aspect. I like, you to be able to connect, for you not to feel alone, for you to feel like, you can get in a car for an hour, turn on the radio and feel like you have somebody next to you and not, again, I'm not sure if that answers your question, Randy.
That definitely helps. I mean, obviously the number of podcasts I was just seeing, well, it was an online conference announcement that Spotify had the other day, and just showcasing all the numbers of podcasts and just original creators that have grown the last, well, especially since the beginning of COVID. I mean, the numbers of podcasts have just grown so much. What do you think of this? I mean, it seems like we hit a point 05, 06 where podcasts were getting hot. Now, especially the last few years we have. What do you see as the future of podcasting?
I could get on and create a podcast and put it on, and so can Matty, and we can do it together, and our cousins can do it, and our brothers can do it, and whatnot.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all about making the connection, and the big podcasts, Rogan and all these guys. It's because they've made a connection. You want to hear what these guys want to talk about. You want to know what Tom Fischer thinks about the cigar and the Scotch or whatever. But I mean, again, it's great that people have options. It's great that that you can, but it's also like YouTube. YouTube has a gazillion, trillion, gajillion videos, but when you go to YouTube, you know what you're looking for.
Right.
So if you're a geek like I am and want to know, circuitry and whatever and new tech or whatever, like I go for that. My daughters go to, to learn stuff that, that coding and stuff that they're learning in school. They'll go and they'll punch it in and YouTube is teaching them, right? So it's all about what you're looking for and finding. The issue is that, I can do a podcast and have 3 people engaged.
Right.
I mean, or you could be somebody like Rogan and have 3 million people engaged. And there's everything.
It's about them being vested in who you are and what you do.
That's right.
That's the moral of the story, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of podcasts, I'll just go ahead and put out there, if you want to get on our Bourbon Blog podcast, since we're talking podcast, there's a link to our where you can find our podcast. We're on Spotify everywhere. There's our landing page, Anchor FM. /Bourbon blog. And Matty and I are coming up on almost a year of doing this every Saturday night on Bourbon Blog Live. Make sure you follow us all the places that we are wherever you're watching, and keep on coming back every Saturday. It's a lot of fun having you, Pio. It's a great conversation, and certainly fun to talk to a fellow radio person.
Same here, Tom. It was, when Matty kept saying, we hang out and smoke. It's like, oh man, we got to hang out with Tommy one of these nights. We got to do the Bourbon blog, and I was like, but Matty, me really? It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Glad we finally were able to do it.
Too much of a modest fellow, man. I'm like, come on, dude. You gotta get. He's like, no. He was like Eeyore. I don't know, but. I don't know.
I'm just the behind the scenes. I really enjoy, I like to be that behind the scenes person that makes everything work. And it's like, but who is he? And because, especially in this business, and especially in when you're, you just, if I were to, there has to be a little bit of space so you could do what you're good at, what you're great at, so you could so you can make the whole machine work and make sure that you're contributing and you're helping and you're assisting.
Absolutely.
Any special stuff, Pio, you're working on that that you would like to make the audience aware of?
I mean, look, what I do is what I do, and especially now with the world turning everything on its back, I work with my friend Cynthia Smith on WBLS. I work with my friend TT Torres on Hot 97. We have, we have those products, performing to the best of our abilities. The audience is there. They seem to like it. We get that from the ratings, but with everything going on, my side hustle now is voice work, and this, being a radio guy, it's stations. I have 3 stations that I voice in Florida. I have more than half dozen in Texas. Texas is a big market for me because I can go from Spanish to English easily. I'm fully bilingual. So that, it's just, that market is fire for me. So, just trying to get that hustle. And
so remember, anyone who needs voice work, we got voice work guys everywhere. When you want the voice that makes people leave, I'm your guy.
If you want to have somebody that sounds like this, I can do it for you.
I put your Instagrams up there. That's where people can follow you, right? Pio Ferro on Instagram.
Yeah. That's my personal IG, and then of course I have my geek page, and there's I think I have a link to it on my blog. Yeah. So
cool.
All the gear that I use, all the shit that I listen to, I don't know if you could see the records and stuff.
Nice.
Just a little bit of it.
The best way to compare it is we all know about Sanja's smoke dungeon with absolutely some of the most amazing smoke you'll ever see. This equipment and some of the records that he has. So the same way you go through the history of cigars, Pio takes you through the history of music. And it's like, he's like, Matty, you going to go yet? And, it's after 37 straight hours of me sitting on Pio's couch. Like, we haven't listened to this yet. He's like, you have to go or we're going to call the police. You got to go. It's time.
Yeah, there's some.
I'm not done yet.
Yeah. I mean, look, if the thing about the gear is, if music is my favorite art form. So I just try to experience it with, the best I can. It's like going to a museum and making sure that the lighting is right as you're seeing some of your favorite sculptures, works of art or whatever. You don't want a green tint over a beautiful painting, and so anyways.
Well, it's great to have you, Pio. Again, follow Pio on @Pio Ferro, and we had 25 people resharing this. That we're gonna pick one of we're pick a number between 1 and 25, Pio, and that's connected to somebody who shared our video tonight for that prize of the coffee.
Lucky number 13, baby. Always.
All right, number 13 is Peter Mcconaughey. It looks like Peter Mcconaughey of Twitter. You're the winner of that Janus coffee. So thank you, and thanks everybody who watched tonight. It's so great to have everybody coming week after week. Matty, who's our guest next week?
So I don't have who it's going to be yet, but the people that I don't know what days are for whom just yet. So we have a bunch of wrestlers coming up. We have Kevin Sullivan coming up. We have Del Harvey, the writer of Hill Street Blues, is coming up. We have Lloyd Anahi from the Samoans coming up. So we got a nice big cast. And we have Sanj is going to have a special guest. I'm going to let Sanj break it down.
So his name is a guy named L. Sadiq Banks. Guy has written almost 11, 12 books. He's working on a movie, and he's a fashion designer and an artist. Very well-known guy. Good for young kids.
And he'll be here at some point soon.
Yep, within the next 2-3 weeks when we figure out all the schedules. So we got another full house for the next month.
Awesome. Pio, Matty, everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight on Cigar Saturday Live. Look forward to seeing you, Pio, when we're back in New York very soon.
Cheers, brother.
Tom, just give everyone a shout out. So as we were talking about everything with COVID and everything else. So remember, Tom is usually out on the road, for a good chunk of the year, 180 days on the road. So much like us sitting here, everything's done virtually. So remember, you can do virtual pairings and tastings with Tom on a private level, where it's a ticketed event where you can have your own private lesson, if you will. And if you need cigars added, reach out to me. We will add that to your event. And Tom, I'll let you break that out a little bit for those listening.
That's right. Just visit us at bourbonblog.com/tastings. We do virtual tastings for your business, for your party, whatever it might be, even for your wedding. We can do all those. We just had an article done about us this past week on Yahoo Finance about the Bourbon blog whiskey tastings virtual. So we're excited to have more and more people joining us for those.
Tom, what's the weirdest event that you've done a tasting for? Like, has it been like?
Good question. Weirdest. Just a lot of celebrations, parties. Nothing. No funerals yet. So.
Yeah, he said yeah. You heard that?
Yeah,
of course. Like no divorce parties or
none of those yet. No
crazy bachelor parties or.
So out there,
we've done those.
So listen, divorce parties.
I bet.
We'll do any of them.
About that 30 minutes ago.
As long as it doesn't kill us, we'll do it.
Sounds reasonable enough.
That's awesome. Pio, great to see you, and Matty and Saj. Thanks everybody, and much love, everybody.
Much love, guys. Have a good night, guys and gals.
Cheers, guys.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Good night.